So a few months ago, I had the privilege of shooting a wedding video for a friend of mine who was getting married. And it was an opportunity for me to actually explore smartphone videography because I was actually invited as a guest saxophonist to the wedding. I decided to explore, aside being a guest artist and playing the saxophone and all that. By the way, if you do not know, I'm actually an event saxophonist, professional event saxophonist. I play for events, weddings, dinners, stuff like that and all that. So I decided you guys can patronize me if you want me to play at your event. So like I said, I was invited to play the saxophone, to play a piece for her during their couples dance and all that, the usual. But then I decided, okay, why not on the side try to do some sort of wedding videography, some sort of wedding reel. The groom was Edo, the bride was from Ikwerre. A lot of rich culture was going to be shown and all that, and so I wanted to just explore what I could capture, what I could do with my smartphone. And so this video was actually supposed to be about how that went, but then I thought, why not I just talk about the whole experience of the wedding. This was one wedding I went all out for. This was one wedding I had to leave my comfort zone to go for, So most of the stuff I do, most of the events I do are usually, within the place I stay, not too far away. I don't travel too far away for stuff. But then this was actually far away from where I was. The wedding was to take place in Port Harcourt and I was in Ibadan, and so I had to travel to Port Harcourt for the event. And I contemplated, should I go by flight and all that, but then the truth was that I didn't have the funds for that, and so I had to go by road. And I think I was kind of thrilled by that because just to have the experience of going long distance by road. The gist I got was that from Ibadan to Port Harcourt was going to take about 12 hours, give or take, on the road and all that. And for me, that's scary because aside from the fact that I get travel sick, I could get very paranoid. You're in Nigeria, there's insecurity, and then the roads are bad and all that. I had another good friend of mine. We were traveling together for this friend's wedding, and so we decided to take the road journey together. She was actually the hairstylist for this wedding, and so we were kind of going for business and at the same time going to sort of have fun and celebrate with our friend. And so on the day we were meant to travel, it was a Thursday morning and cold morning, and so before 6 we were already out. And then bunkers. I mentioned initially that I get travel sick, and because of this, anytime I'm going on long journeys, I have to use some medication or else I'll throw up all through the journey. I forgot to use this medication, and I had never gone on a journey this long before, ever. That was a mistake because that was when things began to go sort of sour. Luckily for me, I took that medication along with me, but there was a way I should use it and I did not use it that way because I forgot to use the medication. To cut the long story short, I think 30 minutes, 1 hour into the journey, I started throwing up. It was so bad, the driver had to park. We had to get nylon bags by the side of the road, so that I could throw up in it and all that. And let me just spare the details. It was really nasty, and thank God I had a very understanding friend with me. That happened, and then that just pretty much ruined most part of the journey because I was giddy all through the journey. The whole idea of wanting to document my experience on the road, the places we passed, the sights and all that, really was not a nice thing because things just kept going south. But then I tried to observe the little I could observe. I tried to take a few videos as I passed through and all that. I had some additional gist that we're going to meet a lot of policemen on the road, and this was one of the things that probably sort of convinced me to go because you know, like I said, insecurity was a thing, bad roads was a thing. So the route we were going to take the route that went through Ijebu, that went through Benin or a road, get into Delta, and then Port Harcourt subsequently. That path, that road actually is heavily saturated with a lot of policemen and police checkpoints. And so throughout the journey, I'm sure we probably had well over 10 police checkpoints on the way. I mean, well over 10 police checkpoints. All the time we kept meeting policemen on the road and all that. And even though, yeah, you know, we definitely probably have issues with our policemen and all that, I think I just felt comfortable that at least there are policemen on the road. And so no fears, this road is actually kind of safe. People ply it all the time, and there are little or no issues with security and all that stuff, so you can be rest assured. To cut the long story short, the journey was not as eventful as I probably would have thought it would be, as regards, you know, absorbing what I could see around me. But then I think I got over vomiting and, you know, all that giddiness after some time, and, you know, I think I started to, you know, calm down and enjoy the experience a little bit more. And then we got to our first stop, which was our Delta State, and we got to rest. So we got to rest. I got to use my medications the proper way and rest a bit, recover, recharge, and get ready for the next part of the journey.
Now we are here, we are in Delta.
Delta? Is it Delta?
Yeah, Delta now. I couldn't recall much on the way because I was showing up all through.
Wait, have you started a video?
I have to work here with me. Couldn't do much on the way because some things happened on the way. Above those things, we were able to do so much of video, the journey from Ibadan to Delta. But here we are in Delta now, and we have a stop. We are stopping here for a while before we continue our journey. From Delta from Ibadan to Port Harcourt is about 12 hours, but we are actually running on a record time. I mean, from Ibadan to Delta, we left at 6:30, and this is just 12:30 thereabouts. So we only spent about 6 hours on the road, and Port Harcourt is about 3 hours away from here, if I'm not wrong. So that means we are actually 3 hours earlier. Yeah, I mean, we are close to Port Harcourt.
Very close.
So that means our driver knows what he's doing, you know. He was moving very
speed.
he was moving really fast. You know.
Very fast.
We spent about, I think, 15 to 30 minutes at the stop at Delta State, and then we started the journey again to Port Harcourt. This felt faster, felt more relaxed. It wasn't as, you know, crazy as the first part of the journey where I was giddy most of the time. But then the unthinkable thing happened. While we were packing our bags at the terminal, apparently we packed all our bags in the trunk of the vehicle, and I think it was safe there. Really, the car was a very good car, in good condition and all that. But then I guess maybe someone did not lock the trunk very well. We were speeding at about 120 kilometers per hour on a freeway express road, and all of a sudden the trunk of our vehicle flew open. Yeah, it flew open. That was crazy. Not only did it fly open, we were moving at such a speed that there was no way our personal effects in the trunk wouldn't have been thrown out. I would have even felt bad if my bag flew out, or maybe my personal effects flew out and all that. But then, man, my saxophone bag flew out with my saxophone in it, of course, and that was crazy. I think the most important part of this was that there was no vehicle coming behind us, because that would have caused a fatal accident. And I just thank God that didn't happen. But then some damage was done. I got my sax, opened it up, and that was it. The stem of my saxophone was bent. the key mechanisms were distorted at various points, and I just closed the damn thing, and you know, we continued the journey. And for the rest of the journey, I was just sad, man. I felt really bad. I had to cheer up, I had to bottle it up and go. And so there was a problem of course, how do I fix the saxophone? So we got to Port Harcourt about 3 o'clock, 3:30 thereabout. We left at 7 a.m, got there around 3:30 p.m. That was pretty fast for Port Harcourt, you know. We tried to discuss with the travel company about what happened and what they could probably do to, you know, salvage the situation and all that, but then we really didn't get so much of a good response and all that. And so just let's forget about the bad stuff that happened and all that, and so let's focus on the wedding. And so the bride herself came to pick us up, and this was where some exploration started. And so the bride was going to pick up our wedding gown and all that, and so
Don't be kicking up a bit on top. Wait, like you drive it or what? Okay, so okay, just decor. Why would they use micro for decor? I like, who does that? What does this remind you of, Jimmy? Like this place, just this place. Like what does this remind you of? Just this place. Yeah. What about you do? We can go out and come inside. I want our clothes plenty like this. So you know how to be doing bad guy, man.
No, we're just being good. So I needed a community to start. I'm an exclusive. How much did you pay, sir?
So I'm just hearing of this color for the first time. So it's blush. Blush.
And so we did all that and everything, and I think we found something to eat, and then we went home to prepare for the next day.
So now we're home, and yeah, you saying it, Krisha? So there's a fish pond here. If not to say, if I don't know for I for carry small, go out, go use and do stew. I want a fish business to do.
My dad.
Okay, they want chop. And they don't sabi with that. They don't sabi now. I didn't know catfish were this responsive. But this one, no, they chop their food.
The night we decided to explore the city a little bit. We went to get some local food at some kind of vegetable, sort of special vegetable something. So everything went quite well. There was rain and all that, but then, you know, we still went ahead unperturbed. The idea was for me to do a proper wedding video vlog from this event, you know, capture pre-wedding, you know, probably do some, you know, cinematic shots, some b-roll, you know, that kind of stuff and all that. But then all what was in my mind was, how do I get my saxophone fixed? How do I get a saxophone to play for the event? And you know, the person who we contacted to get us a saxophone to rent didn't come until very much later, when, you know, we had even forgotten about the couple's dance and all that. And I guess at least I played. despite everything, I still tried my best to capture some shots. You know, I couldn't just leave without getting something, so I summoned all the energy I had left, despite the fact that things were going south, and then I captured perhaps the most interesting part of the wedding, which was the dance part. Traditional dances can be very, very interesting to watch, and I was at a wedding, a very traditional wedding, and I had the opportunity to capture this, you know, and make it into a sort of cinematic video. And so here's where I get to the part where I talk about how I shot the video. So most of the video I shot, all of the video I shot on my smartphone. I used a Samsung Note 10 Plus, which I did a review of recently. If you haven't watched the video, there's a link in the description, you can check up there. I shot all the videos in 4K, yeah, predominantly in 4K 30 FPS, and I also shot them using a gimbal. So here is a gimbal here. This is this gimbal is the hohem iX Staedy. This gimbal was quite kind of viral when it came out because it was tagged the lightest gimbal in the world, in quotes. I don't know if that was true back then, but then that was what made this viral go. That was what made this gimbal go viral back then. And so I got this back then for about, I think, 30,000 naira. I'll put links to the in the description of where you can get this gimbal from. But then this gimbal is super light, super easy to handle, and it fits in your pocket easily. You can see the form factor is, I mean, quite compact. This was what I used to get stabilized shots. I was able to get the perspective shots, you know, and get, you know, cinematic moves and all that. This one actually comes with optical image stabilization. That means your shots are stabilized, but when you're shooting 4K, the stabilization ain't really, you know, all that, you know, good. I think it uses electronic image stabilization more predominantly when you're shooting 4K. So this could help. Not that I couldn't shoot with this, but then, like I said, this helped me with, you know, framing the shots, you know, and then having the cinematic moves. And so for most of the part of the video that I shot, I was, you know, moving around, you know, having to follow them as they were performing the dances and all that. And so this really helped shoot the video. I'll be doing a review of this gimbal soon, and so I think if you want to see a review of this gimbal, you can subscribe and click on the notifications bell so that when I review this, you'll be the first to know about it. And so I'll put a link into the description of the video, and you can watch it and then tell me what you feel about how well I did shooting the video. But then that's by and large how I shot the video. And were there any challenges? Well, I guess the biggest challenges for me will be overheating, and so I think this is a common thing that phones will have. If you're shooting 4K continuously on a mobile phone for long periods of time, you get overheating. And then another thing will be memory space. So my phone comes, and this is what I like about this phone. This phone has space for SD card, and this really helps me to expand my storage. So my internal storage finished, and so I had to switch to my SD card, and then I overcame that problem. If I was shooting on an S22 Ultra, I won't have that luxury of being able to have additional storage. You get what I'm saying now? The video I shot was predominantly point and shoot, nothing special. I just went to video, pointed my camera, and then shot the video. I had some little control over the highlights. So on the Samsung stock camera app, you could adjust highlights even while the video is shooting, but predominantly that was what I used. And so when I was done with that, I had a lot of shots on my hands of, you know, all the dance and all that happened. And then I went back. By the time I came back home and all that, I was able to edit the shots. I edit most of my videos on PowerDirector, you know, added all the cinematic effects, and then I came up with the wedding video. The link to the video is in the description above. And so that was by and large the experience I had with this wedding. The next morning we left very early for the park, which was Sunday, and we came back home. The journey back home was quite uneventful. I learned my lessons about travel sickness, so I used my medications as I should. And we got home. We left around 7 a.m. We got home around 7 p.m. So yeah, but around 6:30, 7 p.m. thereabout. So for the return journey, we did almost a 12-hour, journey. But then I think that was because there was this very crazy hold up along the Benin-Ore road, so we had to divert and go past through Ondo and Ikwerre before now coming to Ibadan and all that. So we got home and we got to rest and get ready for work on Monday. Yeah, we had to go back to normal lives and all that. So this video was, I'm not sure what to call this video, whether a travel video or just a video of my experience, but this journey was quite an experience for me. I got to learn about other places, I got to eat new food, got to meet new people, got to meet new culture. We couldn't have so much time to explore Port Harcourt and the really vibrant parts of Port Harcourt. For most parts of our stay in Port Harcourt, I think we were around Joba and its environs, and we didn't really go beyond that part, except for when we went to the village for the wedding itself. And so by and large, that was my experience. What do you think about it? Do you have any questions about traveling to Port Harcourt, and do you have any clarifications and stuff like that? Personally, I feel a road trip to Port Harcourt is not as bad. The journey is quite smooth, especially when you take a very good travel tour vehicle. The roads are not bad all through. For most parts of the journey, the roads were actually smooth, although there were some parts where the roads weren't good and all that. But then I think that's a typical thing in Nigeria. But then if you have the funds, I think taking a flight is always the best. I mean, within a few hours you're at your destination. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you're able to get one or two things. This is quite an atypical video from the kind of videos we do here, but then I thought I should just share my experience of something out of the ordinary I did recently with my life, and I hope you enjoyed it. A huge shout out to my friend who was with me all through while I was throwing up. She's a hairstylist, in case you want to patronize her. She's based in Ibadan, but then is available to travel. She does bridal hairstyling for modeling and all those, all that, anything hairstyling. She's very good at it. Recently we did a modeling shoot together where I got to capture her hairstyling for a model, and she did that in collaboration with a makeup artist. And if you want to see the video, there's the link to the video in the description or in the video cards. And so without further ado, I think it's time to wrap up the video. It's a long one, but thank you for staying till the end, and catch you in the next video.